Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope you had a great week. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. I'm here today with the great Kevin Eastman. How are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Happy Sunday to you. And yeah, what a great week it's been.
You've been real busy. I mean, Last Ronin, I believe, is sold out in every comic book store, and you have tons of variant covers, and second printing is coming. And
yeah, that was a real surprise. Of course, you're always hopeful. I worked with Tom Waltz, and I wrapped up 100 issues of the Turtles last December, and so that was such a wonderful experience. All the great artists and creators, and of course, I think Tom is he wrote every single one of those issues, and so proud of him. And so when we were looking down the road to what to do next, I kind of dusted off this story that Pete and I had written way back in 1987, and I said, "What do you think of let's jump way ahead and maybe take a little Dark Knight kind of approach to a turtle story set, say maybe 20, 25 years in the future." And that was sort of like, wow, let's go.
Yeah, I read it. I picked up my copy. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. Panel to panel is energetic. It's interesting. The pace is really good. It gets you right into it.
Yeah.
So what made you, two questions. First of all, congrats on the reunion with Mr. Laird, and how was it working with him on this book, and what inspired you guys to make this story?
Well, Peter's pretty much retired and mostly hands off on the series. It's basically, when I reached out and said, I love this story. I'd love to have you, more intimately involved in the specifics, but it's based on a story that's had a beginning, middle, and end, written as it was back in the day. It was set 1987, so 30 years in the future, so it would have been 2017. So when we first looked at it, it was still, we'd already 2 years past when the story was originally set. And so with that, I just, Pete said, I'm happy to have you go ahead and adapt it however you want, but I can't, I'm retired.
Okay.
So, which is great. So I feel like this is a hidden gem, a treasure, something that was written right in the middle of, some of the coolest historical moments of Mirage Studios. I think we were wrapping up issue 11, I think, at that time. And so, yeah, it's kind of interesting when I look at when Pete and I were around 1987 and looking down the road after wrapping up the first 11 issues, which is kind of the core foundation of all things Turtles. We were sort of like, where do we go from here? And I think the idea was, well, let's look, 30 years down the road, see where they would be then, and then maybe start carving out a path to go that way. And then as things lined up for Tom Waltz and I in the end of 2019, rather, that we were looking at the same thing. Where do we go from here after doing 100 issues? And so the same approach was like, well, let's take this story concept, look 20, 25 years down the road and see where we end up. So it's been, the parallels are wonderful. It's pretty cool.
Well, I remember 7th graders, 1984, seeing this black and white book, and nobody had done anything like this, and independent comics didn't have the movement they have. So you're like the father of independent comics at this point, probably inspiration for all these campaigns that are going on, Kickstarter and everything. Just what brought you, you and Peter at the time, what made you come up with the concept of 4 Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Well, it was pulled from a bunch of different references. I think some of mine goes back to, one of my favorite Jack Kirby concepts was Commandy, and it's a world filled with mutant animals. That Planet of the Apes concept sort of taken, right, so much farther with Jack Kirby. And so you had this mutant animal aspect. We had inspirations like Dave Sims' Cerebus as a self-published movement, which was sort of middle ground. You had your underground comics with, Robert Crumb and Richard Corbin and Dave Sheridan and the Freak Brothers, but then you had this movement with like Cerebus, and shortly right around that same time, Wendy and Richard Peeney's ElfQuest. So the appeal of self-publishing, because if you didn't self-publish, your options were Marvel or DC, and
they were hard.
Yeah, and so we get plenty of rejection letters from them. So that's where the idea of all this. We were bound to become storytellers, cartoonists, comic book artists, illustrators, whatever you want to call it, come hell or high water. So we did an early crowdfunding with my uncle Quentin, who loaned us $1,200. We put together a business plan. We had printing quotes and what we want to do and how we were going to market it and launch it. And so he wrote us a check, and that was enough to get that first issue out there. Thank goodness for comic book stores and that distribution market made it possible. So.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever think that this would become the pop culture phenomenon that it has? I mean, there's movies and T-shirts and paraphernalia of all kinds, and comic books and cartoons, and the cartoon was very successful and brought a whole generation into it.
No, I mean, a lot of times, jokingly, I go, yes, of course we knew it was going to be a huge hit. No, in reality, here on Planet Earth, that's why the first issue was 40 pages, beginning, middle, and end. It was intended to be a one-shot. We didn't think we'd ever get a chance to do a second issue, but we just wanted to draw comics so bad. And so yeah, the first one was a one-shot, and to our surprise, we actually, one of the things that is actually true in our studio in Dover, New Hampshire, we actually use some of the boxes of printed books to use as a coffee table, as an end table, because we figured we'd have them for a long, long time. Giving them to friends and family for Christmases indefinitely. But the fans discovered it, and it sold out in a couple of weeks, and we were just like, what? So we did the second printing almost right away, and then as we got into the fall of 1984, comic stores and fans were writing, well, when are you going to do issue 2? And so Peter and I, roll up our sleeves and got to work on issue 2, and then, doing it ever since. Just a short, 36, 37 years later.
Yeah.
Here we are. Wow.
So how'd you deal with the fame that came with this? I mean, obviously you're a celebrity in the comics industry. I mean, you've published and edited and written and drawn, and you continue to have your company. And
well, the thing was, we were very lucky that it's like we're in an industry where there's just you can't throw a talented creator, writer, artist without hitting another one. There's so many incredibly gifted and talented people, and I think that a lot of them got into the business for the same reasons that Peter and I did, which is the passion for the medium, creating and writing and being your fulfilling that childhood dream of telling stories in comic books. So we just started and ended there for the most part. It was every day that we got up that we still got to work in this business, and now for me it's been I'm heading up close to 40 years. It's a gift. I get up and I go over there, and I'm writing and drawing every day, and I can't thank the fans who gave me the greatest job ever enough. So fame will come and go, money will come and go, but what a legacy, what an adventure, and what a journey it's been for me, for sure. Here we are talking about Last Ronin. It's like, whoa, after all this time, we're still finding that audience and getting that fan support, which is fantastic.
And when you brought this back, did it ignite a new passion for you, or have you maintained that passion through the whole time for the Turtles? I mean,
there was pretty much the passion. My passion for the Turtles never went away. There was just times when I think after 15, 20 years, it was almost 20 years that Pete and I were doing it. 90 hours a week and working on things, and it was, again, I don't want it to sound like even remotely like a complaint, because it's not. It was just this greatest gift and this greatest adventure. But as I referenced Jack Kirby early on, both Peter and I were huge fans of Jack Kirby, and Jack Kirby didn't do just one thing. He did a lot of things. And so to me, that was something I wanted to work on and tell other stories, and bought Heavy Metal magazine and worked with Simon Bisley and lots of different people just to explore your creative chops. But the Turtles were never that far away, and I always loved them. And when IDW invited me back into the series when they picked up the license in 2011, I jumped back in and just immediately had as much fun as I did back in the old days, working with Tom. And the frustration only being that most of the artists and people we were working with are half my age and draw better than I do.
Well, I guess that's subjective, right? It depends on who you talk to about drawing.
But no, it's been, the energy, just watching the last, almost 10 years of the 100 issues evolve and create something, I think is what Tom Waltz did specifically. I think is a definitive Turtle comic book universe that you can build and go many places on. But then both Tom and I had to set that aside and then jump in to Last Ronin, which is, again, we call it a Dark Knight kind of thing, because it's it's not set in any specific Turtle universe, but definitely leans way heavy into the Mirage universe, obviously. But we wanted to sort of take it to a place where we could do a lot of.
So this is a 5-issue series, just to show the book again. And I have to say it's slightly larger than a trade paperback in far size. And from the very first panel, it gets going. And I thought that the pacing of this issue was fantastic. I think pacing is an issue a lot in comics these days, but you get right at it, and you give just enough for us. But obviously, there's so much more story to tell. Without giving spoilers, do you want to tell us more about the story, or?
Well, sure. It's basically one of the things, a couple of things that we teed up when we dove into Last Ronin and in the discussion with IDW and Nickelodeon was that we wanted larger size issues. Back like when the early days with Pete and I would do them, they'd be between 35 and 40 pages each. So we wanted 40-page issues, a run of them of 5. We wanted the issues to be oversized. And some of those for a couple of reasons, that we wanted plenty of room to really develop and massage the story the way that Tom and I wanted to. But to me, the thing that Turtles were to me in the early days was the martial arts. I was like, extended fight sequences and things like that, that to me was exciting to do and read. And you don't see a lot of people really go into, 35-page fight sequence.
Right. And there's a lot of fighting in this book.
Yeah, and that was the first one. That's exactly the way I wanted it designed and done. I wanted you to start turning pages and just go, what, all the way through to the end. And I want to give a shout out, especially to, because Tom and I write it and I do the layouts traditionally, like I used to do back in the old days with Pete. But the Escorza brothers, Isaac and Esau, who brought those pages to life, is fantastic. And then when we get into issue 2. There'll be some flashback sequences where we'll have Ben Bishop would be doing some of the flashing back to some of how they arrived there. But it's, without giving spoilers, I'll just say that the intensity that you fans, yourself and your fans have seen in issue 1 will continue throughout the series. It's going to be pretty epic. So I always say, buckle up that seatbelt, because it's going to be something crazy. And
that's the thing, it sets up for a wild ride. I mean, you can tell where this is going, in the sense of it is intense. There's a lot to it. There's psychological aspects in here, emotional aspects. It's not as action-packed as it is. There's a story there. There's a character story there. It's not just, smashing and beating. And I thought it was a wonderful blend in the book.
No, and that's the awesomeness of working with Tom Waltz as we've worked together for 10 years on the ongoing series is we're both including all the whole team at IDW. It's always story first, and so you can't just like you said, you can't have beating and smashing and fighting without something to hold it together, and that was critical to this. And so we paced it out in that way that each issue. Like, the last word in the first issue was Michelangelo, which is, when we disclose who the Last Ronin was, and you'll find that pace in those kind of moments in pretty much every issue through to the end. It's going to be it's something pretty special. We're very proud of it, and we're really could not be more thrilled that the fan response has been what it has been. We're pretty overwhelmed and pretty grateful for sure.
Yeah, there's like 30 variant covers too, I think, and it's already looking at second print. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
What are the plans after the Last Ronin? Any plans on that, or?
No, I think that I feel like much like when we wrapped up issue 100, and then this opportunity sort of evolved to the right place at the right time to do it. Tom and I just focused on getting through the next 160 pages, and could not be more excited. And I feel like. By the time we get to the end of it, the next opportunity hopefully will pop up and call us like, hello.
Do you see returning to this universe, this alternate timeline kind of story, or?
Yeah, no, that was actually, it's funny because when you start building out a world like this, it's exactly that. When you look at how we took all the pieces together, so many environments and things that made up this world, and then you start to really getting into and really liking this world. So you start looking at like, oh, there's an opportunity. We could maybe do something else here and a little there. And then some of the characters we're introducing, there's a lot of opportunity. But like I said, I think we'll see where we are at the end of this this series, and then figure out our path from there. So.
Excellent. I know you have a tight schedule today. I know you're being called.
Yeah. my boss, my wife, is making sure we stay on schedule, and but I want to say thanks for hanging out with me on Sunday. This is great. We love doing this stuff. We miss being out there doing the conventions and seeing you all in person. So this is a great way to stay in touch with the fans and thank them again for such a great job. And my pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thank you for being on. And if you ever have the time to come back, please, anytime. And thank Courtney for working with me and everything, and your assistant Jasmine as well. So great. I wish you all the most wonderful success. The book is fantastic, and thank you again for your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. All right,
have a great day.
Yeah, you as well. Cheers.
Okay, so that was Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wonderful guy, and it was great that he took some time to meet with us. I'm sorry it wasn't longer, but he has a tight schedule today. But just to be able to get to talk to him briefly was fantastic. And to be honest with you, in 15 minutes, he gave us a lot of information. I would actually love to interview him for more than an hour because, we didn't even get to go into his heavy metal editing and publishing and just, more in depth into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So maybe one day I will get the time to do that. He is a very nice guy, and I'm happy for his success. And to all you indie creators out there, look at him. Look what he's the Todd McFarlane of the indie world, if you think about it. Granted, Image was indie, but he was Todd McFarlane before Todd McFarlane was Todd McFarlane. There's a guy, like you said, like he said, they came up with an idea. They didn't think it was going to do. They got a loan from his uncle. They published a few books, didn't expect it to go anywhere, and here we are. You could be the next Kevin Eastman. You could be the next Todd McFarlane. So just keep plugging away and keep doing what you do. And we all have to support indie artists and their crowdfunding and their campaigns. I highly recommend you do that. And everybody, pursue your dreams. You never know what's going to happen. Having said that, again, this is The Last Ronin. And if you haven't read it, it's really good. And I'm not going to spoil anything. There is a ton of variant covers out right now through different retailers that are just awesome. People I know that I'm cool with, like Ben Harvey, have done some, and Jason Metcalf. And, there's just some amazing art out there. I am also going to tell you this. I'm going to put my banner up. Here we go. This is my Linktree link right here. Okay? Click that link, and not only will you be able to go to the website for my show that is December 6th, 2020, from 10 to 6 p.m. in Suffolk County, Long Island. I have a small one-day show that will be, I'm a nurse by trade. I'm a nurse by day, promoter by night. We will be clean. We will be safe. We will be safer than Walmart. We will be sanitizing throughout the entire day. Staff will be sanitizing. There are no aisles to get congested in. It's surrounding the room, the outside of the room. We will have a sanitizer station. And yes, we will also sanitize the sanitizer pumps. We will social distance as much as possible. And of course, we will mandate masks. And we will do a survey to make sure everyone attests to not having any symptoms, being close to anybody, being in contact with anyone out of state in the last 2 weeks or themselves, etc. So I promise you it's safer and cleaner than the Walmart and the Target that you go to every day. So you can click there to go to that website. We have Billy Tucci, Larry Stroman, Keith Williams, Rodney Ramos, and others that will be at the show, as well as some amazing local and indie talent that will be there. We also have comic dealers, bin hopping. I miss bin hopping. You find those little issues that fill in your holes. There'll be some key issues, some slabbed issues there. I know virtual is doing well. Everybody's buying comics like crazy online, but there's nothing like having the comic to look at in your hand, talk and negotiate with dealers, or bin hop and have that book in hand. So if you love comics, if you love art, I'm telling you, it'll be a nice, small, contained show. It'll be safe. It'll be fun. And we have to show that there's hope that we can get back to some sort of normalcy. All right? So being responsible, we can live. We can go out and do things, but we have to be responsible. Having said that, if you also go on this link, please go to Creatorcon event, which is the YouTube channel. I cannot implore you enough to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to give you a good incentive why. I would like you to subscribe if you could and hit the bell for alerts. If you don't like alerts, I get it. Subscribe, though. This interview is only being played on YouTube. It is not going to be played on Facebook as my normal shows are. You have to be subscribed. You have to like the video, and you have to comment on the video. And if you do, you'll be put into a raffle drawing for book 1, trade paperback 1, the Reborn volume of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Ashes. It's a trade. It's first 6 issues. It's a great jump-on point for anybody who hasn't read the Turtles before. It's brand new. It is not secondhand for me. It's a brand new book that I just purchased to do a giveaway. Again, I'm going to reiterate, for you to be involved in possibly winning the book, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button for the video, and you have to comment. If you do not comment, I don't know you're in the raffle because I need your name. I need to know who's there. I'm going to leave it up for a week, and I'm going to raffle at the end of the week. Next Sunday, I will announce the winner of the raffle. I'll try to get a random app to do the name, or I might assign numbers and do a live rolling of dice so that it's fair. I will be fair and impartial, and the winner will receive, again, this Ninja Turtles Reborn trade paperback, number 1. Nice start-off point. Brand new book. Okay? So, again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be a part of this. It'll be fun. You can see this interview with Kevin Eastman on that channel. I will post this up later today, and I will put up a post letting everybody know. And I hope you all join in on the contest, okay? Please share it out. Let everybody know about this. Let them know about my YouTube channel. And I just, again, I want to reiterate to everyone, pursue your dreams, work hard, be willing to bleed for what you do, and you very well could be where Kevin Eastman is now. Why can't you? There's 2 different types of people in the world. There are those that are in their car listening to the radio who are telling you you'll never be on the radio. And then those that are on the radio. Who do you want to be? So I encourage you all to follow your dreams, work hard, be willing to bleed for what you want, keep that passion, and we have to support each other in this community. We have to support each other. Let's build each other up, not tear each other down, no matter what's going on. Having said that, I leave you with what I always leave you with. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.